What's up? What's up? What's up? 650 of you are subscribed to the channel. Thank you. It's been a long 10 years of this channel dragging on from different themes to no theme to some content to no content to disappearing acts to reappearing acts. Yeah, a lot of different chaos on this particular YouTube channel. So for those of you that are still subscribed and still looking at the content that I put out there, high five. So if you noticed on my other channel that I link to sometimes, I've rebranded some of our direct sales offering into a fractional sales and business development agency. What the fuck does that mean? Not much besides names and titles and things like that to you as a business owner don't really care about. So what it really means is that we, rather than working with just one particular type of business, to several different types of business, but focusing on one particular action, which is filling up your calendar with more meetings with your ideal client profile. So currently I'm working with a tech company that works with labs. I'm working with some random companies that have nothing to do with my ICP, just to generate revenue. But the big picture and what I'm spending time on is creating relationships with other experts and pros that are good at what they do. So whether that's accountants, whether that's HR experts, videographers, marketing whizzes, AI aficionados, people that can plug and play into your business on a fractional level. A lot of businesses these days, from what I'm seeing, are not a large scale, not a large human scale. Maybe a couple of people in the company, and then everybody else that works with the company is outsourced partners, collaborative vendors, or what have it. So that's the model, right? With technology and AI in an age of information, that's what it is, right? Everybody's leaning on technology rather than entry-level hires. A lot of industries are being disrupted. You're seeing AI agents and automations take the place of a lot of different type of roles. But at the same time, there's a lot of different new roles and positions that emerge in the technology space. So with that being said, I'm going to read a quick excerpt of a book that I'm just stepping into, which motivated me to make this big shift. Hey, Sid, how you doing, buddy? This big shift back into working with other companies from 2016 to 2021, when I kind of backed off. Besides a few clients here and there, I was working with mostly listing agents, realtors, right? And if you guys have worked with realtors and listing agents providing services and that sort of thing, we know that agents spend money on leads, but most of them aren't really great salespeople. So that's why, I started We Call You Close a couple of years back, where they would, outsource top of funnel calls. We would set appointments, wham, bam, bam. But at the end of the day, even when I was providing good results, it's very hard to retain that type of a client, because unless you're teeing them up perfectly and they can walk in the door and walk out the door with that listing agreement, it's going to be our fault, right? Did they listen about what, Sid? So will I still work with real estate professionals? Potentially. But for the most part, it's something I kind of painted myself into a corner with. And at the end of the day, if I can't show up to my own projects that I'm building out excited and motivated to do it, what the F am I doing, right? And so at any point, if you guys are watching this and you're stepping into business for yourself, and just remember, now that you've made a decision to not show up to somebody else's business for a job, and you're taking the risk to bet on yourself, why make that bet and go do something that you don't feel good about? That even though you're maybe producing revenue or paying bills with it, if it's not something that aligns with who you are, guys, it's okay to make that leap. It's okay to back away. It's okay to completely fall off the map for a while and refocus on who you are and what you want to be doing. So that's pretty much what I did from 2021 for a couple of years. Now, I had a couple of projects. I worked with a couple of clients here and there just as reminders that that's not really what I wanted to be doing. Point is, the gift of communication, being able to sell stuff, communicate, make something out of nothing, it's a skill set that I can't just necessarily throw away. It's built into who I am. I walk into the grocery store, I find myself selling, right? So now, if you guys are watching this, yeah, it's riskier than jobs. However, like you said, Sid, it's riskier than jobs. But it's not just about the dollars that job creates, right? Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to just continue to show up to that job for years on end and then build out somebody else's empire, right? Because that's essentially what you're doing as an employee. Now, that's okay if you just want to focus on, going to work and taking care of your family, that sort of thing. But for me, I have a bigger vision, and I don't have kids. I'm not in a marriage. So it's like, I can take risks. Riskier than a job. But at the end of the day, like, if I'm going to create a job, my point here is, like, now that I've decided to do entrepreneurial stuff, if I'm going to do something, I want to feel good about what I'm doing and I show up every day. So that way I'm not getting to a point of burnout, right? Getting to a point of burnout and, not even wanting to show up to something that I've created for myself. So at any point, if I find myself doing that, like even right now, this new project that I'm working on, if I figure out that, okay, this is not something necessarily that's going to be what I want to sustain with and step into for the next year, 5 years, 10 years, of my life, then I'm going to cut it right there and figure out what I want to be doing. So the name of the game is collaboration, right? Me collaborating with you, you collaborating with me, whether that's me being you being a client of mine, us working on a partner level and collaborating on bigger projects. As an example, I'm working with a videographer. Once you're stable, it's a piece of cake, he said. Let's see. Let me read this comment. Yeah, it's about the journey, not the money, but hey, money helps the journey. Once you're stable, then it's a piece of cake. But here's the thing, like, if you were to spend 9 to 5, 40 hours a week for years, here the thing that what happens is you get used to that. And then even though in your mind you think, yeah, okay, I'm going to go to my 9 to 5 and then I'm going to work on my 5 to 9 after, you can do that for a while, but it's not quite sustainable. At least when you get to be in your mid 40s, like myself. So I've been to ground zero. I've been to rock bottom multiple times, right? And everybody's rock bottom or ground zero looks different. I've been rock bottom homeless on the streets. Sometimes I had a car, sometimes I had nothing. So taking a risk and having that things like that be potential consequences, not quite as scary because I've been there. I've climbed back out, right? It's all the mindset thing at the end of the day. And here's the bigger picture. If I'm going to stress out on anything, it's going to be things that I've put in front of myself. When we get to a point looking forward where things like our dollar bill might not even be part of the system, we might have a whole nother system. Who knows where we're going to be in business with where technology is going in a couple of years. We can all make projections. We can all have our opinions, but all of that doesn't really matter when it comes to how I feel about who I am and what I'm doing on a daily basis. So now I'm working on gaining clients who are working on things that I feel good about, right? As an example, this tech company is working with environmental labs that are doing testing, water, soil, cannabis, psychedelics, things like that. I can get behind that. I'm working on an account that they do have a couple of wellness centers around the country focusing on therapies like ketamine therapies and other newer therapies that are legal. And they need a person like myself to help them develop their sales pipeline. I'm working on a lead. This company has a couple of retreat centers, one in Costa Rica, one in the mountains in the Sierra, and they're working on another one in Colorado. And they need somebody to help them build out their whole sales outline, their whole foundation of how they're going to be able to bring in people to the retreat spaces. So I'm focusing on building a plan to connect them with corporations to have them on their list for retreats. Wellness brands, non-alcoholic drink brands. We're seeing more of mushroom and other legal substances like functional mushrooms, like lion's mane, reishi, and these other types of funguses that are being made into drinks, which have similar, if not more sustaining effects than alcohol. Stats show that more people are going alcohol free or very sober curious than ever. And what that shows is that there's a lot of opportunity when it comes to creating products, services that support that. And if I, with my new brand, Jungle's Juice, am able to position myself as somebody who lives that lifestyle but has a strong track record of sales and marketing, that's where we are. I know a lot of you on this account follow me because of all of my real estate marketing stuff that I put out over the years when I was doing cold calling sessions, basically setting up appointments. That's still in me. I just don't want to go work with a realtor and set up appointments. If I'm going to go cold call sellers, I'm going to lock it up into a contract and assign it and get a fee. Don't need a realtor anymore, right? Now a realtor might get involved, but that took process, that took time for me to learn all of that. So am I saying that time spent doing that was a waste? Absolutely not. So much learned. I had a lot of fun doing it until I didn't. And if I had done it right from the beginning, maybe it would be a business that would still be operating, but I just wouldn't have to be part of it. The truth is, if we want to really talk about it, because you guys might get more value out of this, when I started that venture, I started it off on the wrong foot. I had no clue how to run a business at that point in time. All I knew was I was leaving a company that I worked for, iHouse Web Solutions, where I sold websites, and I didn't want to go get another job. So I figured out something I can do to generate money without getting a job. So what I did at that point is I just contacted one of the realtors that I had sold websites to and asked them if they wanted me to cold call their leads and set up appointments. And that ended up growing into a larger scale service that I offered for a few years. Now, you guys might get value here where at that point, I should have been thinking, how am I going to replace myself? But all I was thinking was, how am I going to get more realtors to jump into the program? So then what happened was I had more clients that I knew what to do with, but I didn't have time to fulfill the services. So if you guys are getting ready to start something, or if you're in the process of starting something for yourself, remember, think forward of where you want to be in your business in a month, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. And from the very start, as soon as I generated that first dollar, I should have been thinking higher. But at that time, I still had a very hard time trusting anybody with anything that I did in business, because I thought they would go and steal it and make it their own. But the truth is, I can sit here and share every single one of my ideas with you and with the world without a care, without a worry, because I know that even if you go and try to start something off of my ideas, it's not going to be the same way that I would do it. Ideas are just ideas until there's action taken and they're brought to life. I can have an idea to do something that we're talking about right now, and a person on the other side of the world can have a similar idea, and it's just a matter of who takes the actions to put these ideas together sooner. And does that mean that these ideas cannot, think about it in movies, right? You have movies that come out and within a couple of years of each other, and they're similar movies. And they're pretty much the writers had the same ideas, and they wrote the same manuscript, the same script. And the movies came out, different titles, but the movies were pretty much the same, right? I can think of handfuls of ideas that I've had over the years that I did not take any action on, that now there's businesses that are out there thriving, right? Ideas are just ideas until actions are taken. And so now I have ideas, you have ideas. Together, we can bring these ideas together and actually take action together collaboratively. You focusing on what you're good at, me focusing on what I'm good at. So this is not a live stream necessarily to gain new clients in my new business, but to reach out to every single one of you that follow this, that subscribe to this channel, mostly because of the real estate stuff I put out over the years, to learn about what you're working on, to share what I'm working on, and together how we can collaborate to do more, right? Usually when I win an account, in my new business development venture, they're going to need more than just somebody who can do sales. They're going to potentially want, they need this in marketing. They need this in the legal department. They need this in the HR department. They need somebody to do the accounting, right? Maybe they're just a software developer and they just want to focus on that, right? And so I can come in and put together a fractional business development offering for this company, where I focus on what I'm good at. You can come into the project on a joint venture level, and you can focus on what you're good at, or I can bring you in as a contractor. Let's say we win the account, X amount goes to you for your services, X amount goes to you for your services, etc. Fractional resources is the new age, is the new stage of where a lot of businesses are going to be. If you think about in the tech world, a lot of early stage tech founders and businesses in general, one person, maybe 2 or 3 people, and it's in their business model to hire, right? To outsource versus hire. They have to bring in talent, but if they have minimal financial resources, the big thing is how are they going to grow and scale with those minimal resources? So what I do is I come in and position myself as a fractional business development agency. We can focus on the sales. I have experts in this area, this area, this area, and together we can help you take your business from where you are now to where you see it being in this period of time. So with that being said, this is a call to action for anybody who follows this account, follows this YouTube channel. Whether you're joining forces with me by reaching out and scheduling a meeting after this, or if you have a need within your business, let's talk, okay? I'm Jeremy Marquez. This is Jungle's Juice, Fractional Business Development.